My name is Julia Estrada, and for our panel discussion, we chose the topic of abortion. I will be giving some points on the pro-choice side of the argument. The first question I got was, should abortion be a decision only made by women, or should men also have the right to decide? Although abortion does affect men, I believe that it is the woman's decision on whether they should or should not have an abortion. Abortion rights are vital for gender equality because men don't get pregnant and there is no heavy burden on them to keep a pregnancy or make the decision on whether they should have an abortion. It becomes gender discrimination to criminalize an act that only one specific gender has to deal with. The next question I got was, should the government be allowed to interfere with abortion decisions, or should they establish laws with some limits? The coercion and pressure put on women to follow through with pregnancy over having an abortion are more pervasive than the government's willingness to care for the mother and child once the child is born. Most women who need abortions are already living in poverty and their situations worsen once they have an unplanned child. The next question is, when should women consider abortion and in what circumstances? I believe it's up to each woman to decide when they want an abortion and when and in what circumstances they choose to have one. Women have a moral license to determine what they want to do with their bodies. They should be respected as a person, not just a vessel for the fetus. When a woman is criminalized by a capitalistic society for having an abortion, even though they're not paid enough to provide for themselves, let alone another human being, they're stripped of their full autonomy. This capitalistic society takes control of a woman's body in an attempt at controlling her and exploiting her reproductive labor. The next question is, in which states do women have the right to abortion? The issue of abortion rights is a global issue. Giving women the possibility to have abortions allows for the decrease of unsafe abortions. For example, in Nepal, which has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world, 50% of these deaths are due to unsafe abortions. Women who feel like they need abortions but don't have access to them put themselves at risk by attempting to have DIY abortions. The next question is, should women have permission or access to abortion? Having an unplanned child significantly changes a woman's life. It becomes harder to maintain everyday life routines when you have to worry about caring for an additional life. Unplanned pregnancies affect a woman's education and job opportunities and whether she will be able to keep these. It also has a significant effect on her income. Isn't adoption a better decision than abortion? Trying to control a woman's autonomy and deciding that she should carry a child to full term can have negative consequences on the child. Children that are born out of unplanned pregnancies are exposed to experiencing developmental setbacks and tend to lack a stable relationship with their mothers. The next question is, why should terminating a life be legal? There's no general consensus in medicine that states that a certain stage of fetal development is associated with the right to life. Therefore, states declaring abortion is illegal due to the taking of life are determining for every woman when life should be considered a life, using morality to determine a woman's right to her body as a close-minded perspective. Why don't women who don't want to be pregnant use birth control? Contraception in California is provided at no cost to most women, but in other parts of the U.S. it can cost up to $50 a month for the pill. A single abortion, on the other hand, costs less than the continuous use of the pill. And not only does it eliminate the cost of contraception, but it also eliminates the cost of prenatal doctor visits, hospital visits, when it's time for the delivery of the child and ongoing care for the child once it is born. The next question is, why don't women look for resources before they become pregnant? Women may or may not have the resources to be able to plan or prevent themselves from becoming pregnant depending on their economic status. In the United States, unplanned pregnancies and many other maternal determinations differ across racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic lines, and the disparities that come as a result of these differences have extreme consequences for women among minority and low socioeconomic statuses. The final question is, what is the role of lawmakers in the issue of abortion? Most of the lawmakers and supporters of anti-abortion and pro-life movements have an agenda when advocating for anti-abortion laws. They exploit the issue as a way to pander to specific demographics, which helps to grow their popularity and voting pool. Reformist solutions such as the criminalization of fetal abuse and attempts at criminalizing abortion only exacerbate the larger systematic issues that women often face. To summarize, women, especially women with low socioeconomic statuses, should be provided with more reproductive health resources. This would significantly lower abortion rates in the US, but women should ultimately be allowed the right to have an abortion as an option if this is what they choose.